let's just see where this one goes. I think it's going to be kind of a grab baggy day, which is nice. I felt like yesterday was important topic. Acedia, a little humdrum though. And then today is all about wonder. I've got a couple other topics in my mind. And yeah, that's how we're going to roll for this one. So we'll kick it off. Talk about a few things. Took a little run this morning, 3 miles with the fam. No better way to start your day. But yeah, I was talking to a friend, colleague this morning, and their kid is going to a new school. They're going to send him to a new school. And she's just kind of talking about insights that, she gets from her daughter. And they're just so interesting, the stories you hear about like parents interacting with their kids. And there must be a million of these, because you just, you capture all of the, I don't know, what's the word? Unfiltered intake and view that the kids have of the world. And one of the things is in changing schools, like it has regular school stuff. They read a lot more, I guess, on average than normal schools in this particular school. And, they do a lot of the like outdoor adventure exploration stuff. And we were just kind of talking about how, cultivating the mindsets of, problem solving and cultivating the mindset of curiosity and wonder is just so important as you continue to get older. And I don't think it means that you can't do a great job at a singular task or fit yourself into a company as an employee if you want. But I do think it helps protect you from, all kinds of things like dogmatic thinking and just like a continuing learner's mindset. But it's also just fun. I think life is better when you embrace wonder. And I know I've chatted about this one before, but it is so true when you start to view most of the things you do in the day as a list of things you expect, or you start to really view them as the outcome. Man, it takes a lot of excitement out of the day. And there are certainly some things that are very predictable and you can view that way, but I think things are much more exciting when you view them as sort of the what if, wonder why. And she was just talking about how, one of the things is like at the school, they have some fish there and the kids got to take care of the fish, and they learn all these things about like how to do that. I guess they got to like shave down its teeth or something, like, I don't know, something really bizarre that this fish needs. But of course it made me wonder, like, all right, I'm on Google, like fish, like helping fish clean their teeth or something like that. That's just a really wonderful thing. And it opens your eyes to how many jobs there are in the world and how many things there are to do. And yeah, possibility is really beautiful. And it is something you got to practice as a human being, because our minds are not too big. And so it's really easy to think that the world that exists is just the world that you see around you. And there is so much that goes on there. I've been really, for a long time, I've been obsessed with this show that was on Netflix, animated show called Arcane. And for a lot of reasons, I liked it. The nerdy side of it, I liked it. But it's a really immersive show, and I've been watching this documentary about the show, and I think it's called Bridging the Rift, maybe? Let's do it quick. Yeah, Bridging the Rift. And in it, they get to an episode where they talk about how the sound designers designed sound for the show. And because you watch the show, and maybe at some point you're watching, and the animation is beautiful, and I think the story is compelling and fun, especially if you like that genre. It's absolutely incredible. But when you pause for a second and you just see like the character's movement and how much sound just shapes the narrative of the story, and they do a lot of storytelling in the show, through music and not just the sound effects. But you wonder, like, how the hell do they do that? And it's incredible when you watch what the sound designers do, and they have sound generated by a computer. They have sounds that are like, that's not quite right, I'm going to go make a sound, and then they modulate it. The fact that that's a job is amazing to me. And it's probably something in a really excellent show you just might take for granted. If it's not there, maybe you never know, or it just doesn't seem right. But everything from like the footsteps to the sound their clothes make when they walk. I mean, they're just attaching sound to so many little details. And like I said, it almost makes you not just seeing the thing, but it almost makes you feel maybe a certain outfit the character is wearing, or obviously you can use sound to feel emotion, but you watch the show and you're just like, I wonder how they did that. And then you go and look. And when you assume, that's when the fun stops. When you assume is when the fun stops. When you ask the question, I don't know, or what if, or how do they, that's really when the fun begins. So that's really all today was just like a reminder of wonder. We were on a run this morning and, training the dogs to run better on a leash and when to pull, when not to pull, that kind of stuff. Really hard, but super fun when you're like full sprint and then your dog just whips off to the side to take a big old dumperoo. Yep, that's a trip. And anyway, we were just like running and we were coming over the top of one hill and it kind of goes down to a little ravine with a little creek and then up another hill. And just looking at the next hill, it just, it's green grass and this path going up. It leads up to a lake and just absolutely gorgeous. And I think if you can just pause for a second and, you think like, how did that get made? Why is that here? That wonder is so beautiful. It made me respect it so much. And not much could go wrong in my day after that. Throughout the rest of the run, I started thinking about, cultivating this mindset of wonder, this ability to appreciate things I don't quite understand or not sure why they're there. And so I started thinking about like, all right, well, kind of like the gratitude exercise we did a long time ago and the accountability exercise, which, I started and fumbled and still think about but I think about like a wonder exercise. Like, how do you cultivate this mindset of wonder? Being willing, because I think part of it is like when you get that curiosity or that wonder toward a thing. It was funny in my head. I was like, yeah, you should. I was thinking about sharing this advice. Like, when you feel wonder towards something, you should go research it. And I was like, already, I just felt like so like sterile. Like, yeah, go research the wonder. But I think a better way to think about it, and that maintains the serendipity that wonder brings in all of its best ways, is just immerse yourself in it a little bit. Maybe just dip your toe in it. Just go check it out, see what it's like. Take a peek under the hood toward the wonder, see what's going on there. I don't think you necessarily need to research it, but just practicing that habit of some slight exploration of wonder, man, it's really good because there is so much we don't know. Even in run-of-the-mill things, I've been, investigating house projects and things like that, and I grew up around a ton of that kind of stuff, people who work in the trades, and I've been just diving down internet rabbit holes of wood joinery and watching people just make really beautiful things out of wood and woodworking. And it's just so pleasurable. And I'm sure at times I spend a little too much time on it. Could be something more quote unquote productive. But gosh, I think it's such a beautiful thing to see the way people solve problems with that kind of stuff. And part of that just strikes me as I walk around the house and just look at various things. How did they do that? And ever since I spent time tiling the dog shower we built, everywhere I walk into, I look at tile and I'm like leaning in and I'm looking at the grout line and, the thickness of the grout and how did they make certain cuts and how they fit it together and what kind of saw, I just have so much curiosity about things that I'd otherwise take for granted. And it just makes the day so much more inviting and exciting and just rich, which is really cool. So just finding a lot of appreciation in the little things the more I spend time exploring the wonder I feel and turning off that part of my brain that is the expectation. Oh, I know this thing is here and it's always been here and it should be here. Or, yeah, I've heard maybe a little bit about how this thing's built, so I know how it's done. I know how that's done. And just being open to, kind of letting the world, hey, world, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I found a lot of appreciation there. I had some other topics I wanted to talk about, but I like that one. That's maybe we'll get back on the sub 10 minute grind. I had some things I wanted to talk about with like forcing the solution as well as judging other people's competence. We'll get to those. Those are more serious topics. So go walk around a little bit, take a peek at some things that you normally look at and ask yourself, I wonder why that is the way it is. And, see how that strikes you. So, yeah, as always, appreciate it. More tomorrow.